Damn, Jussie. Damn. This is a lesson everyone should learn. When you execute a plan with an accomplice or accomplices, and the end result of your plan ends up having investigators involved, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get caught. Who would have thought in 2019 we would be talking about a situation such as this? Clearly, Jussie has shown us that he is a sociopath. I mean, getting on Good Morning America, giving us these crocodile tears, talking about how strong he is, that he stood up against these Trump-supporting ski mask wearing bigots who attacked him because he is a gay black man. You know, and then had a show in California where he had cue cards where in his speech he was like he's the gay Tupac. I mean, this boy was just going out of his way to get people to believe in this story about Trump supporters and ski masks attacking him early winter morning, where it's like, why would Trump supporters be out early in the morning looking for a gay black man to attack? It really seemed far-fetched. It really did seem sketchy, but at the same time, we had to sit back and be like, okay, this is Jussie's story. This is what he's telling us. So as black people, we just gotta believe it, or sit back and kind of look at the situation and go, something seems very off. Something seems very sketchy about this. And big ups to the Chicago PD for doing their due diligence in trying to resolve this case. Of course, to be honest with you, they really didn't have a choice, especially being that Jussie Smollett is a public figure. The police department wouldn't have been having onslaught of calls, probably emails. Just like, where are you guys with this investigation? What's going on? Did you put this on the back burner? These MAGA Trump supporters are still out there, probably attacking another black gay man. What are you guys doing? So to avoid all that, they had to make that a top priority versus every other unfortunate crimes that has happened in that city. But as Superintendent Eddie Johnson said, they was able to divide and conquer different cases. And so they was able to make this a top priority, while also not neglecting the other cases. And it was able to come to the conclusion that what we all know it to be a hoax. And not because of this ingenious plan that he initiated. Jussie could be looking to spend 3 years in jail of a felony disorderly conduct. But if Jussie play his cards right, he should plead guilty just to get a reduced sentence instead of having to go in for the full 3. But knowing him, he's so delusional. Like I said, he's a sociopath, so he's probably still believe that he's innocent in all this and he had nothing to do with this. So knowing him, if a trial is brought forth, he will try to fight it. Jussie, just plead guilty, bro. The jig is up. We know you to be a BSer. So just come out and just be honest with the people. When this story first came out, everybody had an opinion on what they believe is the reason why this happened, or how could this have happened, or there's something deep, something more to it than just the attack on Jussie. Everybody had their viewpoints. Me, I didn't want to come out the gate and just speak on this issue. I wanted to wait till everything was brought forth to the table. You know, everybody was so quick to jump on it because it was the breaking news. So everybody wanted to get them likes. They wanted to get them thumbs up. They wanted to get that attention for it. But I'm like, hey, something just isn't 100% truthful. And not to mention the reports when they first came out back in the end of January, it wasn't really full detail. So just based off the report that they gave us, this was a little sketchy, but it wasn't something that made me want to get up and just put out a video, be like, oh my God, Jussie, he was attacked by Trump supporters, these racist Trump supporters. Oh no, what are we going to do? We need to do something. We need to take action now. No. Just sit back, let the investigation take its course. They're going to let us know what's going on. And now, like I said before earlier, Superintendent Eddie Johnson, the police department, they came out with a news conference to let us know what's going on. We got the infamous mug shot. They gave us the ins and outs of what has occurred. So now I can give my opinion on it. I didn't want to rush to judgment when the story first came out. And I just want to say, Jussie, shame on you, bruh. Shame, shame, shame on you. It's like, damn, it's effed up, but shame on you for that, Jussie. And people who follow the story had their own conclusions as to why he did this. What was the reason for it? And I believe this could be an added reason to the list of reasons why he did this. Because if you go on his Twitter page, he pinned a tweet February 21st of his new album that's coming out March 2nd. It's called The Sum of My Music. So I'm like, So this was a publicity stunt to promote his album. Of course, he was going to go on this tour. He's the Gay Tupac, and people are going to buy into his music because this is the guy who stood up against racist, homophobic Trump supporters. He was going to be this champion. And this album was going to show the strength, the determination, the courage of this artist through his music. So, yeah. But as I said early in the beginning of this video, when you try to execute a plan that involves an accomplice or accomplices, the end result is going to be investigators getting involved, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get caught. And what's also going to end up happening is you're going to have a Bill Duke from Menace to Society sitting on the other end of that table, talking to your accomplices, telling them, you done fucked up, right? But officer, my American black brother, no, you done fucked up, right? And black people, please understand this. Jussie Smollett did not make black people nor gay black men look bad. I have a cousin who is gay, and he was telling me how this made black people look bad. This made all us gay black guys look bad. And I'm like, dude, no, it does not. Trust. If Jussie Smollett made black people and gay men look bad, then Ed Buck made all gay white men look bad. So black people, please understand. Do not let one bad apple spoil the whole bunch, okay? Do not be ashamed, do not be embarrassed because of the actions of one. The actions of one does not dictate or determine that all are like that. Because if, like I said before, if they want to throw that on us, there are plenty other people in their group that we can throw back at them and say, hey, this represents y'all group as well. So I don't buy into that nonsense. Of course, you hear the term of they all look at us as one big nigga, which is pretty stupid because, like I said before earlier, we could look at Ed Buck as representing all gay white men, or we could look at down in Florida, Mark Bartlett, who, just a couple of days ago got charged for a hate crime when he was waving his gun and yelling racial slurs at the young black boys and on the bicycles who are part of the protest on MLK Day called Wheels Up, Guns Down. Well, shoot, we can look at Mark Bartlett as a representative for all white people, for all white men, if that was the case, if we wanted to play that game. And it's so simple to play the whataboutism game. The only time the whataboutism game need to be played is when someone trying to make a statement about how your group is this, that, and the third. And I'm like, dude, you can look in the mirror and see the exact same thing happen in your community also. The people who represent your group. Okay, don't just look at us as one big nigga. Well, we could look at you as one big jar of mayonnaise. Behind every Jussie Smollett hoax, there are always bigots that still roam around and want to cause harm to another racial group. And I don't want to make this into a liberal versus conservative, Democrats versus Republicans. But there have been right-wing pundits who are trying to make this into an aha moment. So, try to take this one hoax as if this speaks for all hate crimes. And one of those pundits is Ann Coulter. Now, she had a tweet that she put up, and it said, "All right, this particular hate crime turned out to be a hoax. But let's remember, all of them are hoaxes." Now, it's pretty direct on what she was trying to say or what she was saying in that tweet. But a person could also take that tweet as her saying hate crime that involves people calling on those that are suspected as being MAGA hat wearing Trump supporters. Or she could really be referring to all hate crimes as hoaxes. If Ann is really referring to all hate crimes as hoaxes, then it's stupidity like that is why you are either angry or shaming Jussie, because he created this wormhole that people are falling into. But you know something about Ann Coulter's tweet? If white people weren't the majority of committing crimes where police were able to determine that it was motivated by hate, she would have never posted that comment, that tweet. Any report or stat that is deemed negative, and if black people happen to be the majority of that particular stat, none of the right-wing pundits would dare to refute that. Even the puppets, I'm sorry, not puppets, I mean black Republican pundits, they wouldn't refute it either, but will go out of their way to refute any stat that put white people in a negative light. Your Sheriff Clarks, your Larry Elders, they are the top tier puppets on the right, with Diamond and Silk in a close third. Sorry, Stacey Dash, you didn't make it to the final three. By the way, where the hell are you? Sorry, I got sidetracked. But I don't think pundits like Ann Coulter are forward thinking on this issue. You know how we see these comments about, quote unquote, black people commit hate crimes. Well, according to Ann Coulter and based on her argument, no, black people don't commit hate crimes. Those are hoaxes also. But it's hard to refute that all hate crimes are as hoaxes. You know why? Well, one name, Dylan Roof, who committed one of the most atrocious hate crimes in this century. Just last year, a white guy by the name of Samuel Woodward, who was linked to the Adam Walton division, a far right group who idolized Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson and subscribed to those views that are anti-Semitic and homophobic. He was charged for killing a 19-year-old young man by the name of Blaze Bernstein, who happened to be both gay and Jewish. And just this past week, a video had been circulating where an incident happened in Salt Lake City, Utah, where this guy approached two people who represented the LGBTQIA community, and he did this.
Are you gay though? Oh, I am. Oh, then you're gay. Yeah, but you come get. Are you fucking gay?
So yeah, the guy asked, "Are you gay?" And the guy was like, "Yeah," and he just smacked either the camera or smacked him, but I think he smacked the camera that he was holding. But regardless of all that, the guy was arrested and he will be charged. However, here's the kicker. One of the charges doesn't include labeling it as a hate crime. Now, even though it was a blatant hate crime, there is a loophole in the state of Utah where they can't charge him for a hate crime. Simply put, because Utah's hate crime law doesn't mention sexual orientation. But they have no choice to get it changed now that they have actual video footage of a sexual orientated hate crime. And notice it's majority white heterosexual men who didn't think twice about adding sexual orientation as a hate crime in the state of Utah. Listen, right-wing pundits, let's not act as if this Jussie Smollett fiasco somehow sealed or closed the book when it comes to reporting assaults committed by MAGA supporters or Trump supporters. Come spring and summer, unfortunately, we're going to hear reports about it. So don't chalk up some type of victory. You have bad apples who wear Trump hats and they have bumper stickers. Just last week, a Trump-supporting Republican politician in West Virginia named Eric Porterfield, in this particular report or article, it said, quote, Mr. Porterfield used an anti-gay slur during a committee meeting over a proposed amendment to limit anti-discrimination protections for individuals who identify as LGBT+. The amendment did not pass. Also in the article it says, quote, it's responding to the backlash over his anti-gay comments. Mr. Porterfield appeared on a radio show, a local radio station, where he said that if either his son or daughter came out to him as gay, he would, quote, see if she can swim, then I see if he can swim, unquote. So, like I said, don't get too comfortable with your right-wing rhetoric, thinking MAGA supporters pose zero threat physically or verbally. Eric Porterfield proves it's still an ongoing issue. Another thing about this whole Jussie Smollett fiasco is how in some amazing fashion, black men, heterosexual black men, were brought into this. Why black men not speaking up? Why y'all quiet? Well, right now it's pretty clear why black heterosexual men were silent. But in the beginning stages of what we can now consider this to be a nonsense, shit show, whatever you want to call it, not much was said because it seemed sketchy. In the beginning, it was sketchy. Just think about this. Not to mention, when I heard about this incident, I wanted to look up Jussie Smollett, and I clicked on his Wikipedia page, and right there, under the legal issues section of this page, he had a 2007 misdemeanor case where he gave a false report to police that involved a DUI stop. Now, he pleaded no contest to driving with high blood alcohol levels over the legal limit and driving without a valid driver's license. And because of that, he was sentenced to 2 years of probation. So after reading that, I started to become sketchy, but I chose to stay quiet. I stayed quiet because I didn't want to pass judgment. But now looking back at it, so many things were sketchy. But out of all the sketchiness, there was one thing that stood out to me before anything else. And it was the assumed identity of the attackers. I saw one article, it was the Vibe article, where the author wrote blatantly saying 2 white men attacked Jussie. But Jussie never said the race of his attackers. It was people like this author of the article who came to their own conclusion that they were white. And the reason they came to that conclusion was because reports said that Jussie said they screamed, "This is MAGA country." And liberals automatically assume that when looking at the phrase, the first thing to pop into the minds of those who supported Jussie was, oh, they were white men that did this. I'm thinking, yeah, bigots and racists, they're dumb as hell. But we have yet to see in recent years where they are that blatant and that specific when it comes to hate crime attacks. A noose, screaming MAGA country. Early, very cold January morning in Chicago. Now, if this happened in the South where it doesn't get as cold as it does up north, yeah, it could have been possible. But the fact that this was in Chicago during the month where, dare I say, the most coldest month of the year for Chicago, nah, B. And then taking a picture of himself at the hospital with light scars. And then when the police came later on in the morning, he still had the noose around his neck. Come on. If you were to ask victims of assault, I think plenty of them would say they wouldn't want any reminders of their assault still on them. If they were duct tape, they wouldn't have duct tape still on them. If they were zip tied, you wouldn't see a zip tie still around their wrist. Those were red flags to me, to where I'm thinking, okay, something isn't right about this whole case. And now we all know. So yeah, there was a full justifiable reason why black heterosexual men were silent, because in the beginning, it was difficult to fully believe it. Now look, it's no secret that there are heterosexual men of all racial groups who have different levels of discomfort, misunderstanding, and lack of support when it comes to the LGBTQIA lifestyle. But speaking for the black community, yes, there are heterosexual black men who do struggle with that. But when something smells bad, we're not going to indulge it. And this Jussie Smollett incident smelled terrible. Now, I've seen heterosexual black men bring up the Ed Buck and how 2 gay black men died in his house. And this disgusting mofo is still out and about, not locked up. But yeah, it's brought up because he is a white man. One could argue that it's no different from white people who only bring up black on white crimes while completely ignoring white on white crimes. True. But with Ed Buck, heterosexual black men are rightfully calling it out because 2 people had died in his house. 2 gay black men died in his house. So some situations, circumstances warrant his support, but there are also that doesn't, due to skepticism. So, in conclusion, this whole Jussie Smollett situation was a very disappointment, and Jussie should be ashamed of himself for lying to those who supported him, to resurging this talking point about all hate crimes being a hoax, to creating skepticism and doubt when an actual hate crime does happen, to wasting the Chicago PD's time who got involved with this case, and to potentially put black LGBTQIA members in danger because assault crimes would end up being even more covert when it comes to them being attacked. Because now these situations will be looked at as the boy who cried wolf incidents when they were actually attacked by a wolf. Jussie, you opened up a new can of worms and you didn't benefit from it. The community you ride for didn't benefit from it. This will go to trial, yes. And to your fans, you need to just be honest with them. You need to get on your Instagram or get on Twitter or whatever social media platform, and you need to just give your all. You need to tell them the reason why you did this, what you really thought was going to come out of this. Ask for forgiveness for lying and that you understand it, and you understand if they don't accept it, and admit you let them down, and beg them to give you a second chance. And you also got to apologize to the city of Chicago. You got to apologize to the police officer and the investigators who worked on the case. And I know this part right here may be very difficult for you to do, but you have to apologize to the Trump supporters who live in Chicago. Be better than the Holly Hilton, the Starbucks employee who called the cops on those 2 black guys. Be better than Eric Hunter, who told police a black person shot him in the leg when he actually shot himself. Be better than Mary Zukowinski, that claimed that black Army colonel raped her when she was in cadet school at the time. Hell, be better than all the white people who call police for no reason on black people. That would make you more of a stand-up individual when you can admit your wrongs, unlike those who created those type of hoaxes. Ask for forgiveness and accept any consequences that came from it, Jussie. We're going to see later on in the weeks and months whether Jussie Smollett is a stand-up human being or a fiasco that will continue to disappoint everyone. That's all the time I have. It's your boy Macadon. Until next time, I'm gone.